regular meeting of the Northville Public Schools Board of Education. We are your Board of Education, and we are joined tonight, as always, by your superintendent, Dr. R.J. Weber. Thank you. And sitting here in front is the central office leadership team, the best in the business, in my opinion. Thank you. And thank you, as always, to Ms. Irving and the Ed Tech team for setting us up. We are very excited to be here tonight to listen to and meet some of the Ridgewood Rockets as led by Ms. Solinsky. But first things first, if you'd all rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you so much for that. That brings us into our agenda. So I know that everyone is here for the presentation by our Rockets. We do have a few sort of preliminary orders of business to get to. Dr. Campbell-Boytow, would you do the honors of the roll call, please?
I would be happy to. President Lindsey Wilson.
Here.
Vice President Sarah Prescott will be joining us later. Treasurer Lisa McIntyre.
Here.
Trustee James Mazurek.
Here.
Trustee Karen Meyer.
Here.
Trustee Melissa Stewart.
Here.
And Secretary Kim Campbell-Boytow. I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That means we have a quorum. That brings us to number 4 on our agenda. That is the adoption of our agenda. Dr. Campbell-Boytow, again, would you do the honors, please?
Yes, I bring motion 95 that the agenda be adopted as presented.
Support. So I have a motion properly presented by Dr. Campbell-Boytow and supported by Mr. Mazurek. Do we need any discussion on this item? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So that motion carries. Thank you so much. That brings us to number 5 on our agenda, and that is our consent resolution. So for folks in the public here, these are matters that we will move through very quickly. We've discussed them either in previous meetings or in subcommittee meetings in depth. And so there's usually no real need to discuss them in detail here tonight. So we'll move through these pretty quickly. But Dr. Campbell-Boytow, again, would you please present?
Yes. Mr. President, I bring motion number 96, that the board accept the consent agenda items for approval as I will now present. 5A, minutes of April 11th, 2023 Board of Ed meeting. 5B, overnight and or out-of-state field trips. 5B1, NHS boys basketball team camp in Allendale, Michigan from June 17th through 18th this year. 5B2, Northville High School boys cross-country training camp in Maple City, Michigan from August 14th through 17th, 2023.
Support.
Thank you. So I have a motion properly presented by Dr. Campbell-Boytow and supported by Ms. McIntyre. Do we need any discussion on any of our consent resolution items? No. Thank you. Ms. Prescott is here.
Oh, and I will mark her as so.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So that motion carries. Thank you so much for that. And that brings us quickly to number 6 on our agenda, our communications. Again, Dr. Campbell-Boytow, if you would.
Yes, the board has had 2 communications, one from NPSBOE email and one is the Northville Youth Network Program Report for March 2023.
Thank you so much for that. And as promised, that quickly brings us to number 7 on our agenda. Is there any reason that we can't get right into number 7? All right. I think we are at the moment that we've all been waiting for, the Ridgewood Rocket presentation. I'll hand it over, I believe, to Ms. Solinsky and the Rockets.
All right, thank you so much. So I want to just start by having all of our leaders introduce themselves. So I do have a couple other Rocket leaders. If you want to come over, just tell us your name and your grade and pass the microphone down.
Hi, I'm Nora and I'm in 5th grade.
Hi, I'm Sana and I'm in 5th grade.
Hi, I'm Emma and I'm in 5th grade.
Hi, I'm Saryu and I'm also in 5th grade.
Hi, I'm Rania and I'm also in 5th grade.
Hi, I'm Zara and I'm in 5th grade.
Hi, I'm Elliot. I'm 4th grade.
Hi, I'm Hayden and I'm in 2nd grade.
Hi, I'm William. I'm in 5th grade.
Hi, I'm Mobin. I'm in 2nd grade.
Hi, I am Yahya and I am in 4th grade.
Hi, I'm Courtney and I'm in 3rd grade.
Hi, I'm Celine and I'm in kindergarten.
Hi, I am April. I am also in kindergarten.
I am Brandon, and I'm also in kindergarten.
I'm Lucy and I'm in 4th grade.
Hi, I'm Kareem and I'm in 4th grade.
I'm Hudson. I'm in 4th grade.
Two more kindergarten friends over down here we don't want to forget.
Hi, I'm Sammy. I'm in kindergarten. Hi, I'm Colin. I'm in kindergarten.
Excellent. Can we give them all a round of applause? Our rocket leaders, they are fantastic. And I would also be remiss if I did not mention our amazing staff who are here tonight. Look at everybody here to help us out. Before we have our students go with staff to get ready for our breakout sessions, I wanted to quickly introduce Ms. Zoldak, who is going to explain to the board something about your little treat that you have at your seat tonight. It was specially prepared for you.
So we have begun a cooking class, an after-school cooking enrichment class. It started here at Ridgewood in the fall with healthy desserts. It was after school. And then we went over to Thornton Creek and introduced it there and had a rainbow of flavors was the theme there. And then the theme this time around at Ridgewood is multicultural foods from around the world. So each week the students come on either a Tuesday or a Thursday after school, and they get to learn different cooking techniques as well as strategies for how to make things work. We talk about different ways to chop and cut. We talk about a star ingredient and where that ingredient comes from. So this, the treat that we have for you is from Poland. And it's a kolaczki, did I say that right? Which is a thumbprint cookie. And it doesn't have any eggs in it. We're definitely a allergy conscious group. And so we don't do anything with eggs or nuts. And so the students made that last week, and then they also made the dip, which I have no idea how to pronounce. We thought it was I don't know, but it was delicious, and it was made with cottage cheese, which is not a big popular thing to eat, but it was cottage cheese, radishes, onions, and they ate it up. They loved it. One of our chefs is here, Colin, and come on up here, Colin. Colin's mom sent me a message over the weekend that he was busy sharing some of his cooking skills at home. Do you want to tell him about it?
Not yet.
Not yet? Okay. He made guacamole for his family, which was one of the things that we made in our cooking class. So he's taking his cooking skills and using them at home as well. So we're super excited to share that with you, and we hope you enjoy it.
Thank you.
Good job. Okay, so at this time, leaders, I'm going to have you join your staff members and head down to your breakout session so you can get ready for those. Thanks so much, everybody. So I'm going to make this really brief because really this is not about me. This is all about them. And so our session tonight, I'm going to, really briefly cover just a couple slides, and then we're going to head into our breakout sessions. So I did want to highlight our mission statement because that last word together really encapsulates who we are and the rock that we stand on. And this is consistently our message every single year. So I am a broken record, but collective efficacy is absolutely the name of our game. And so everything we do is done with that collective piece. It's building relationships, it's cultivating trust, and it's being present with each other. So we do that as a staff, we do that with our students, we do it with our families. It's a journey. I mean, it is a constant journey, but we feel like we have come a long way as a staff and with our students, and we are excited for the journey ahead with that as well. I did want to share one really brief example because I feel like this sort of encapsulates that collective efficacy piece. We had a 4th grade classroom this year where the teacher went out on medical leave, and unexpectedly it ended up being longer than we had anticipated. So we had a couple of different long-term subs in the classroom throughout the course of several months. And so the students felt sort of a sense of instability a little bit. And so we recognized as a staff that they needed a little something from us. And so the staff came up with this idea of a champion program where we could connect each member of that classroom with a mentor. So there's 27 kiddos. Within 30 minutes, we had 27 mentors. So every single child in that class is still connected to their mentor. They have lunch with them. They get a little note from them. They just check in. It's just something that, we do for each other. And I think that really demonstrates who they are as staff members. What they do goes well beyond their instructional piece, which I just love about everybody here. And so this quote again sort of encapsulates that for us as well. So tonight in our breakout sessions, you're going to see that collective piece in a number of different ways. So you should have gotten an exit ticket when you came in. You probably were met with a barrage of exit tickets, I'm guessing. Some of you probably have, 50 of them by now. But there's a sticker on your exit ticket, and that shows you the breakout session you're going to start in. So if you have an astronaut on your exit ticket, you're going to start with our PTA Diversity Committee. And so our sign holders back there are holding up the picture that will match with your exit ticket. So our PTA Diversity Committee is going to be led by Mrs. Ibrahim and Mrs. Haman. They are two members of our PTA committee, and several amazing student leaders who will be sitting on a Q&A panel with you tonight. Building-wide data, and that's if you have a rocket on your exit ticket, you're going to start there. That's with Mrs. Lindsay and Mrs. Bravo, and they're going to talk you through how we've been collecting building-wide data this year. And then finally, last but not least, if you've got a son on your exit ticket, you're going to start in the Phonics and Phonological Awareness with Purpose session that's led by Mrs. Latondras, Mrs. Spencer, and Ms. Glotfelter, as well as some other amazing student leaders. So without further ado, let's start. Lucy, can you hold up your picture really, really high? So Lucy has the astronauts. So if your exit ticket has an astronaut on it, please join Lucy back there, and she will take you to your very first breakout session. Thanks, Lucy. Then next, Hudson, can you hold up your sun nice and high? Okay, so if your exit ticket has a sun on it, please join Hudson with the sun sign, and he'll take you to your session. And then finally, last but not least, Kareem is holding up the rocket, and he's going to take you to the building-wide data room. And then we'll meet back here. Thanks, everybody. So we love your feedback, and we do things with your feedback. So please feel free to fill that out for us. And then last but certainly not least, if anyone has questions of our leaders.
Board members, comments, questions for our leaders, or anyone in the audience for that matter?
Go ahead. I'll start off. I'm sure we all have something that we're curious about. One of the most wonderful aspects of Ridgewood is the grand diversity of all of the students and families in this school. And it's something that we're aware of, whether we're in your building or we're just near your building. We are aware of and we celebrate with you. But I'm wondering, because we're all such curious learners, as students as well as board members and parents that are sitting here, if there's anyone among the leaders who would have an example of a really interesting new thing they learned about one of their fellow students that they just never knew.
I recently found out that one of my friends was learning Portuguese and sign language.
Oh, okay.
Something interesting I learned about one of my friends is that, about everyone I know, is that they all have a different perspective of seeing things.
Just a few days ago, I learned that one of my friends right here was fasting for a whole month, and I thought I would die when I heard that.
Comments, questions?
So we got to learn about the BLAST classes, and I was wondering if anyone wants to share about how that experience is for the students.
Oh, there we go. So it's helpful for the students because we get to meet a bunch of new friends in all the grades in the school, and it can help us meet new people and learn new experiences.
I also, like, the first time I went to my last class, it happened to be a coincidence that me and my reading buddy, we were in the same class and we were also wearing the same shirt and the same pants, and it was just really cool.
Blast gave me like a different perspective of like everybody, because everybody's like really different and unique in their own way, and it gave me a chance to like learn about them, and even people I already know in the class. I like try and talk to people that I don't know and learn from them.
So I thought Blast class was really fun because I got to learn about like students that I didn't know, and also I got to connect with new teachers.
I think Blast class is very fun, and it's really inspiring, and also you get to learn about people and not just see in their way, but like kind of step into their shoes of how they see.
I noticed about Blast, you can meet new people. I think blast class is fun because we can learn about new people.
So I love blast class because we get to meet a lot of people. I met a kindergartner that I safety for, and I had a classmate in the Miss Keebler's room, and I never really knew Miss Keebler because I just joined last year in Ridgewood. So I got to meet a second grade teacher. I don't even remember what teacher she was. So kind of new to this place, and I met a second grade teacher, and I never really knew about the lower L. I only knew about the upper L.
In my blast class, I made a friend of one of the kindergartners. Her name is Kennedy, and she was like, I also met her from a lot of other activities, like how I met her through, like, from just Kids Heart Challenge. Like, we worked together, and it was really fun. Just all the like opportunities you get here.
So I wasn't in the group that got to hear about last class. It sounds really fun, but could someone clarify what it is? Tell me a little bit more about what it is.
Blast class is when you go to a different class, like that.
It's basically, blast is basically about how to just reenact with one another and talk to one another and just learn new things and make new friends.
Building leaders and synergizing together.
Also, in blast, you go in a classroom and there is students from kindergarten to fifth grade, and you get to meet new relationships, and you get to discuss data and have a good time together.
In the blast class, there's usually like we get to watch a video of the habits, we get to see like the data, and we get to just meet new people. Sometimes we do activities like for the last blast class, we got to decorate a bookmark for March's Reading Month. I think that's it.
I have a question that kind of came from the diversity breakout room. And I love hearing about the blast groups because that seems like one place that I might go if I were a kiddo and someone said something to me that hurt my feelings, or maybe I heard someone say something mean about one of my classmates or another student. But I would love to know two people that somebody would go to or could go to if they heard something that was said that was hurtful, maybe a hurtful name or a hurtful comment or like kind of a misunderstanding. I would love to know from the students two people that you might go to if you overheard something like that.
So I have my classmate in my blast class, and then I have one in Miss Peter Andrea's Dode class. So I can just go to both of them because I'm in one of the classes, and one of the classes are right next to me.
So some people I could go to is like any of the teachers in Ridgewood, and also Miss Selinsky and other like the office staff members maybe.
The two people I would go to is any Ridgewood teacher or staff member that I know, or just anybody that's a staff. And I would go to probably some of my best friends in the school, like Kaylin and probably Elliot too.
I would go to my parents and I would let them know something's bothering me at school, or I could contact the principal, or maybe I can just let my teacher know that something happened.
I would go to the teacher or one of my friends. I would go to like a parent or a grown up.
I would go to any staff member that could help me, like, for example, a lunch monitor or a teacher.
I'd like to simply say what a joy as I look back in the corner over there and see the educators that are with our kids every day. As I look across from me, look down to my right, youngsters. It's a really amazing feeling to see the adults that I have the privilege of serving beside and the things that they do and the care and love they put into what they do for you and with you manifest and come about in your courageous truth. Yeah, I like the data teams, the data hounds out there. The video was great. Yes, that was one of you. Thank you for that. And then really listening to the educators and what you're doing to push in from tier 2 and even tier 3 to bring those concepts to tier 1, which is really in our mind the holy grail. Every single student deserves that opportunity to learn. And by doing that and using your expertise, helps us to learn. So I hope each of you have a tremendous night. Principal Zielinski, your fingerprints are all over it. And you should be very, very proud. And to all the parents, guardians, family members out there as well who came for your own kids, I know you're proud of them. Dr. Weber says they all owe you ice cream tonight. All right, I can write you a note if you need it.
Any other questions?
No, I don't have a question. I just want to thank you for hosting us here. The school is a very special place, and you can feel it in the people who put together the PTA that are coming together to try to move the dial. The kids who speak so eloquently and are so grown up, and the things that even just the announcements that they can make or the data that they're driving, and then so inspiring to see the staff and what a special place it is to marry the families, the students, the staff, and the have the parents behind them. So it's just really special to be able to see that, and I really appreciate your hosting us tonight.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of, was the motto of learning together. I mean, it really is everyone. You've got parents and staff and the students leading that in many ways. So it was really wonderful to see you really living that motto on a daily basis.
I was going to say too, this is my family's 10th year as being part of Ridgewood, and our last year, which is kind of hard to believe. But as I look across the staff and the families and just how much the building has grown together, it just feels like things really are synergizing in such a beautiful way and meeting the changing needs of the Ridgewood community, that it's very different than when my family came here 10 years ago. So a lot of credit to you, Ms. Zielinski, all of your staff, the families, for really pitching in and working so hard together to bring such a beautiful community together. So glad to have been a part of that for the last 10 years, and can't wait to keep coming back and seeing all the amazing things happening.
So I'll just add my comment again. Every single breakout session I loved, right? I loved the idea of the kids getting involved in collecting the data, documenting the data, and then looking at it, right? And it's not about the numbers, it's about how you take the data and turn it into knowledge, right? I love the fact that it wasn't the teachers doing it, it was the kids capturing it and then learning about it. I love phonics, just to see how, as a really old dude, see how phonics has changed from the years when I was, and then how you've added a twist on it to kind of improve it, right? That was kind of a cool thing. But I want to tell you the highlight was actually the session on diversity, right? And so we had a panel discussion. And I really loved how the kids talked about celebrating their, learning about their commonality and celebrating their differences. Kind of, we talked about it as kind of being a circle and coming together. I will honestly say, I think the kids are so much farther down the path of acceptance and learning and growing together than we as adults are. And we look at issues through adult eyes. We need to start looking at issues through the kids' eyes, because I think they have passed us, and they look for commonality, not not ways to separate. So we as adults start thinking about that. Don't look at things through our past. Look at through the eyes of these kids, because I learned a lot listening to those kids talk today. It was just a great session. That was the absolute highlight that I walked away from.
Thank you. I know I have a few comments as well, and then a question if for you all, if we have time. Thank you, kids, for the warm welcome. I mean, when we all walked in tonight, we were greeted by something like half a dozen kids who were sort of elbowing each other for who would be able to hand the ticket to the next person walking in. So that was really cool to see. So thank you for that, and thank you for obviously the hard work that everybody put into this presentation and the presentations today. I sort of had the luxury of being able to start in the what I think is the kindergarten room, which was really vibrant, maybe the most vibrant room I've maybe ever seen. I mean, this is a very vibrant school. It's very colorful, but the kindergarten room where we did the phonics and phonemics was really cool. I loved sort of being reminded how it all sort of starts at square one, right? Where we saw the video where the kids were sitting around sort of going through the sounds. It was like oohs and ahs, like they were watching fireworks. And then a little later, you're getting to spelling out fins, bins, bun, right? So that was just really cool to see how that, to be reminded of how tiny these kids are when they start off in these schools, and then, where they end up in fifth grade. Along the way, a parent who asked me, they said, how do you always do these school meetings? And then sort of how do you get business done? How do you guys get any business done if you're just doing presentations in the schools? And so I thought about it the whole time when we were walking around. And Dr. Weber, to your credit, and I know we've been doing these in-school meetings for years, if not decades, I don't know. But I do think that we are unique in the sense that we do these in school. And I think it's wonderful, and I think it's critical, and I think it's half of the business. It is business. To get in here and be reminded, Jim, you really said it, you really hit it on the head. I remember as we were going through the last year or so when we were looking at superintendents and board members and going through the elections, a big question that we kept hearing was, who are the customers? Who does the board and the team and our schools, who are our customers? And I firmly believe, like I think a lot of folks here, that it is the kids, it's the students. And so I love when we get a chance to come here and listen to student panels. I think student panels are my favorite thing to see. And to see them sit down in a place where they can talk about what they think, what they want, what they need. And what I heard was they want, and this was in the diversity room, right, where we had that wonderful PTA diversity committee that was kind of talking about, which I haven't heard. I don't know that that's common, but I applaud you for taking that effort. But they talked about things like having a safe space, kindness, embracing diversity versus assimilating, right? I can even remember in my growing up when assimilation was kind of a thing, right? And it's just wonderful to see, I think, how far we've come. Great suggestions like have days where you celebrate foods from different countries. I mean, look at the flags that we have here. We have a very diverse group of kids and people, and they're telling us what they want and need. One of the things that I heard was more diverse staff. These are our customers. This is sort of who matters most, I think. So I thought that was a really wonderful session there. What else did I want to get to? So my final point, I guess, was in that fifth grade room, I think it was, around reading goals. I love goals. I love reading. My question to the kids is, do any of you have goals? And in setting those reading goals, have you found that you actually are reading more than you were before you had those goals? Anybody want to take a shot at that answer?
So I get a bunch of new books from the library, and when reading new books, it gets me hooks on different types of books like nonfiction, fiction, realistic fiction, and I find different books that I never would have thought I would like.
I agree with Nora. I feel like just finding new genres of books just helped me just read more because I got more interested into the books, and it was just better than reading a plain old chapter book.
Like when I get new books, I feel like I'm just getting too much books and they enjoy the books and I didn't know I liked them, so I just keep reading them on and on and on forever.
Um, I think reading is a very good experience for kids, that it really helps us learn, especially for little toddlers that are learning, they're still learning how to talk. It's very useful for people who also need help with their reading. Maybe they need to improve. Maybe get a comic book to even just get some words out of it that you might know, or like maybe get some vowels out, maybe get some phonics out. Just at least get a few words of a book before going to bed is at least really good.
Me and my dad are reading this history book, and I think kids are like at ages like this age should read like history books so they can like read more about their religion or like find out like how it's like yeah.
Well, thank you so much. Dr. Weber, shall we move to our tradition? Go ahead, yeah.
Yes, and so we started a new tradition this year, and this includes the parents. Yes, parents as well. And so if parents and students, Principal Selinsky, if you could all come up here, go ahead and stand behind the board. We're going to get a picture of all of us together. So come on up. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Staff as well. Come on.
Let's hold up our caricatures. You have the best caricature, by the way. Look like a newscaster, like on the, like CNN Morning or something. That's good.
Whoa, the way. Come back. Yep.
I also would like to know who created these caricatures for us. These are really awesome. Oh.
I don't know, but cool.
You're a judge?
No, I'm not a judge. Oh, yeah, I do get the gavel.
Look out there, smile.
Oh, here we go.
Thank you.
Nice job.
You guys get a nice one. Nice photo of her.
Hey, yeah, there's a ton of people there tonight.
My punishment. I like it. I bet.
Got it. Have a good day. Bye. Well,
Thank you.
nice night. Do. Yeah, sure you can. Let's do it. Are you ready? Look up. Whoa, wait. Ready? You were amazing tonight. Thank you both. Steam Fair is bumping tonight.
I don't.
I don't know who I signed up for.
Oh, ABC. Ridgewood Rockets. Do. I. No. I don't think so.
So who did you? Okay.
How can I help you get through this?
I know.
Do I have to root you on or something?
I purposefully
Did not pick, although my son is in Roca's
Okay.
French class, but none of
You
these
picked a
are-
couple that you can do.
Yeah, none of these are like gonna hit, you
Hey,
know.
Jim, you have a box of.
I got it.
Okay, all right.
Be prepared,
Keep an eye on her.
Don't worry. It makes it worse when they're
That's what I was asking about. How can I help?
just like, no, I don't know. Nothing helps because that's my husband's like, it's your tender-heartedness. It's,
All right.
It is what it is.
it is.
Just
You know,
I like your phone case.
Oh, thank you.
That's clever.
you wouldn't be able to tell quite as much.
I like donuts.
All right, shall we get back to our agenda? Well, thank you again to Ridgewood for all that work that went into that wonderful set of presentations and breakout sessions. That brings us to number 8 on our agenda. And families, folks, if you're still here, you know, you obviously are free to go. I'll tell you what we have. We have Dr. Weber's report here, some financial matters, a number of really great ABCD awards. So if you want to stick around for a little or all of it, you are more than welcome. You're also, you will not be judged if you take off and you get back to your night. So up to you.
Thank you.
Without further ado, and now that we're all reminded of why we do this and how wonderful it is, Dr. Weber.
Sounds great. So I believe we're actually going to start with above and beyond the Call of Duty Awards, which is really apropos as we come into this next month. Tomorrow is Administrative Professionals Day, National Educator Appreciation Week, May 8th through the 12th, and National School Nurse Day, May 10th. And I would just say that for gratitude to really mean anything to others, it must be shared. And one thing that brings me great pride, and I'm beaming with pride in the board I get to serve beside tonight for the comments they made and the observations they made, is that this is also a Board of Education that realizes that that really it is the staff, it are the educators who do this work. And so every time we're able to share that gratitude and share the gratitude of others openly, publicly, is a beautiful thing. So I believe we're going to queue it up and be ready to go for our list. So thank you very much, President Wilson.
Okay, I have the pleasure of going first in honoring Mr. Creighton Shepard, who is a resource room teacher at the high school. I was a resource room teacher, so obviously I have a soft spot for this. And if I say what a wonderful job those people do, I would sound like I'm bragging, but very important to the school, and wonderful that the student nominated him for this. So this student says that he helps his students get their work done done, but in an enjoyable way. I've viewed and experienced the environment he creates where anyone can feel comfortable. He makes kids laugh while still managing to be serious. I watch him help kids during seminar and lunch. It's amazing to see the way he cares about kids, puts in a strong effort to help anyone who needs it, even people who aren't technically his students. If you're having a bad day, Mr. Shepard always finds ways to make it better. So thank you, Mr. Shepard, for going above and beyond the call of duty.
All right, I get to go next, and I'm going to ask Ms. Ballard and Ms. Ehrlich if you would come up here. Thank you so much. We should get to see your beautiful faces. I'm going to give you something in a minute, but let me tell you why you have been nominated for this award, and I think you know what. We all got to hear about this on the board and in the audience here tonight. So what's happened with our fourth grade here at Ridgewood is it's been a tricky year. It's been a challenging year. The teammate of these two lovely ladies has had to go out on a medical leave back in November. And so we did hear a little bit about that and how everybody has mentored the students in these classes. These two are also in the fourth grade cohort. And so it has fallen to them, and they've stepped up to work tirelessly to support a number of different long-term substitutes who've come in and worked with these kiddos. They've worked together and with the substitutes to work on lesson plans and offer to help in the classrooms and coach and support in all of the ways they can. They've also, of course, had their own classrooms to deal with, not to be forgotten. And these two were nominated and lifted up by their building leader for their incredible work this year. And she writes, I'm so grateful for Christine and Maura for their unwavering support of all of our fourth graders, not just the ones in their classrooms. I am a parent who has kids, 3 kids in the district. There have been times things come and go, and I've had a student in a class affected in this very same way. And I know as a parent, not only as a board member, of course, parents worry and kids all have to move forward, and it can be a tricky thing with classroom culture and holding together and knitting together that group of students, not to mention, again, that teacher's own responsibilities. So to you two, the Board of Education extends our gratitude for really going above and beyond the call of duty with these kids. All right, so that was a little bit of a around. The two of them were around Ms. Keeler.
No, that's fine. Is Miss Keebler here?
Yes.
Oh, wonderful. Oh, great. Okay, well, hello. Ms. Keebler was nominated by a parent. This parent says, Ms. Keebler is a gem. I can tell that she loves teaching and loves her students. She's warm, engaging, and kind, resulting in students who are excited, engaged, and ready to learn. My son is having a fantastic year in her class. He said that Ms. Keebler makes learning fun and that she is the GOAT, greatest teacher of all time. So if I can get my picture taken with the greatest teacher of all time, that'd be pretty sweet.
Who would have ever thought the goat would be a thing of honor, right?
And one more for Ms. Meyer.
Yes. This next one, when I saw her name on the list, I got right on it because my daughter had this teacher for math last year, and my son has her currently, and that's Miss McConzick. So she was nominated by a student as well. She is a math teacher at the high school, as I may have missed out that she's at the high school. She's been an incredible teacher this entire semester. Despite sometimes coming off as strict or demanding, she has a love for teaching and enjoys helping her students. She has managed to create a class where students are challenged, but not too much, where they might struggle to maintain a good grade. As a class, we are constantly on schedule, and there is never the risk of running far behind. Ms. McConza goes to great lengths to ensure that her students learn at their own pace, as homework is rarely mandatory, but extremely helpful for tests. So thank you, Ms. McConzick, I don't think she's here now, but thank you to her for.
All right, we'll go to Ms. Stewart. Okay, I'm working on it, guys. I maybe will make it through without crying, but one of my awardees is here, so that always wrecks me. So I have the final two. I have Sabrina LaRocca, who is a French teacher at the high school. I did very briefly consider translating this into French, but then I realized it's been like 20 plus years and it did not work out well. So I'm going to spare us all from trying to butcher some French here. Mrs. LaRocca has been one of, if not the most helpful teachers I've had this semester. By the way, she was nominated by 2 students. She is always very enthusiastic during class and will help you out with pronunciation when reading out loud to the class. Madame LaRocca makes learning fun by teaching us in different ways. For example, we play story games to learn and memorize vocabulary. She also makes sure we understand everything before moving on. overall, Madame LaRocca, is a wonderful teacher because she not only makes sure we learn a lot, but she makes it fun. So congratulations to and the last
Excellent job, by the way. Excellent job.
One down, guys. I got one down. We'll see if I can.
It's a
make it
private
through.
joke amongst the board.
I know. Okay, I did bring my own Kleenex tonight, just so everyone knows. All right, so the next one is Miss Terry Glotfelter, a kindergarten teacher here at Ridgewood. We all got to visit her classroom. It was the super colorful classroom, pretty amazing. I also got to visit her classroom with Dr. Weber when we did our tour, and we got to see the giant shoes that she has in her room. So she has been nominated by a parent. Miss G does phenomenal work every day with her kindergarten class. We got to see some of that work tonight. I can't believe everything my child has learned so far in a relatively short amount of time. Miss G is friendly, engaging, and patient, and my child looks forward to going to school every morning. I did it.
You did it. A win all around.
That's right.
Yes, sir. They didn't. I wish they would have. She's so awesome. Yeah.
Oh,
3.
come on, come on, come on.
Yeah, come on, family.
Perfect.
Awesome. We'll team up with you and punch up before everyone.
I know, exactly.
Thank you all. That was great.
Does that conclude your report?
No,
Yes, you-
no. President Wilson, are you trying to shoo me off stage?
No.
Why don't we go ahead and go into a little thing that, now, for those of you who were in this room, Mr. Frazier was there, and a couple board members that will go unnamed were with me. I did not ask them to take the opportunity to express what we have around the corner, which is our bond. So it is, again, a zero increase opportunity to provide great opportunities and continue to for our children. That is May 2nd. Which is really not that far away, a week from today, and hopefully by this time we'll have a good idea that it went the way we all would like it to go. I can't say a magic 3-letter word, but some of my friends here can. And I just want to say thank you sincerely to our Say Yes to NPS group, every community member that engaged in bond study, over 700 hours of work this fall. Mike Zoff, who's at a conference tonight, Steve Banchero, led teams last spring around this. I know Aaron Boffman and Dr. Brock went to classrooms. I believe Beth Santer did as well. So really to get us to this moment really did take the entire community, and we're exceptionally grateful for that. So I was wondering if any board members had anything they might like to say to that, or maybe you want to do it later.
Well, I just love the fact we always talk about this as a zero increase. From a pure technicality standpoint, we were at 3.6 a year ago. So technically, this is actually lower than it was the year before, right? And
Wow.
we're now saying, can we hold it steady at this point? So it's not only are we have a zero increase, but we actually dropped down from the year before. And that's a great thing of using our money wisely.
Thank you.
It's hard to believe that we first started thinking about this bond. Maybe it was a year ago when we first started kicking around the idea. I mean, so many people to thank, from the bond study team, the Say Yes team. We are at the board level able to say yes to this proposal. I mean, this is the kind of investment that we need to be making in our schools and in our kids and in our staff and in our buildings in order to create these kinds of environments and these kinds of places where our kids can learn and feel safe and have the best sort of educational tools and things at their disposal. It's absolutely critical. I think this is, the last time we had a bond was 2017, I want to say. And this is the right cycle. This is the right pace at which to do these. I wish Mr. Zoff was here to highlight that point as well. But what I've learned is you need to invest in these schools in order to create this kind of wonderful experience that our kids are seeing. We're going to have kids in this district for years and decades to come, and so we really need this, and we need folks to get out the word, to say yes about this bond. It's really a great thing.
Well, and I think last week we got the opportunity to hear from Ted Dintersmith about technology, right? That our buildings need some upgrades, but also our technology really needs some upgrades as well. That we have Chromebooks, we have iPads, we have the Wi-Fi access points, so many other infrastructure needs that are critical in 2023 to continue to provide the excellent academic opportunities that we want to provide for our students. So yeah, definitely want to echo how important it is that people do vote yes. I walked down today to Township Hall. I picked up my ballot and I was going to take it home. I was like, oh, this is so easy. There's literally one thing to fill out. So it was
So
very
for those
simple.
of you who are online, please get out and vote.
Mhm.
But a special thing is go knock on your neighbor's door and get them to vote too, if you haven't already done so.
And remember, even if you have new people that are cycling in and moving in at this moment, they can register still and vote this. So oftentimes if you live in a neighborhood where there's turnover and there are I've spoken to people who say, yeah, I'm in support, but I just moved and I'm not registered. And all you need to do is go to your clerk with proof of residency and you can become registered and then participate in this vote.
The other thing I'll add, I'm sorry, did I cut you off? Okay. The other thing I'll add is that if you're wondering how, we intend to spend this money and where we intend to invest this money, there's detailed information on our website. It goes into, building by building by building, by athletic field, by playground sort of detail, where the need is and where we intend to put that money to work. I think playgrounds is on the list. That's really important from my perspective. I mean, that's where our youngest kids are learning the ropes, learning how to build communities, learning how to get along and embrace the similarities and differences across each other. We need to have great playgrounds. We need to have great infrastructure. We need to have great athletic fields and facilities for them to play on. I think another surprising, staggering statistic was 70% of the kids in the district take part in our athletic teams and sports. So just so many wonderful things going on this bond. I hate to keep going on about it, but I have to.
Yeah, and I just, something that I don't think we've hit on very much is that, our competitor districts like Ann Arbor are asking voters to approve a $1 billion bond. A $1 billion bond was recently approved, and other districts are going out for $500 million bonds. So this is something that by comparison is much, much more modest, and again, is zero increase. We really do ask you to get out the vote and please vote yes on this.
Excellent.
Thank you all. So tonight we had pictures on our Colt team here. So Mr. Boffman, Ms. Peck were over at our STEAM fair. Also Teresa Osterhoff and Tanya Pitkin doing a tremendous amount of work. So our 9th annual Northville STEAM Fair takes place tomorrow throughout the entire day. So every and each 4th grade student will visit. But tonight from 6 to 8, we had a community event. And the pictures I think that Beth and Abdul and I received from that looked amazing. Tons of people there. And it's something that I can't wait to be part of. 160 plus projects tomorrow. And that is done in conjunction with the NEF, the Northville Educational Foundation. And the congruency between Ted Dintersmith, our STEAM fair, to the bond information that you heard from our board around the STEAM opportunities from the vote that they made this fall to provide even more STEAM opportunities for students. If you have 4th graders, talk to them about what they saw. And tonight, I hope you were able to get out there at some point on that. What I'll say is also a State of the Community was last week. I see the city unveiled a whole video of it, so we'll put that on our website if you're interested. And a special thank you to Megan Irving. Megan helped me prepare for that, putting together the slide presentation and keeping me relatively calm prior to it. She said I couldn't have walk-up music, which was probably a good idea. And then also finally to Andrew Piazza and his team, you've noted that we've moved to YouTube, and we're having some audio issues with it. We're trying to figure that out. But the great thing is not only can you watch our board meetings live, but when you're watching a live meeting, you can actually pause it and go back. So if there was something especially meaningful that you missed or wanted to hear in the middle of watching the meeting live, you can actually scroll back and see what was said. You can search up those meetings wherever you're at in the world. You do not have to email Ms. Irving for permission, which used to be our way of being. So from a transparency standpoint, this way of delivering content is one that we believe as a Board of Education administrative team, one that is truly beneficial and also represents a cost savings to the district in doing so. So to Andrew and your team, thank you very much. People don't know what you all do behind the scenes, but that accessibility, transparency, and really fiduciary responsibility in making sure that we're using resources that don't cost anything and in my opinion are actually better and easier just makes sense. It's a common sense way of doing things. So thank you to you three here tonight and to your entire team for helping us with that. And for those folks who are getting some audio issues, we're working on those. Thank you for reaching out to me. And that's all I have, President Wilson. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that. That brings us to our first opportunity of two, I believe. I just want to check that. Yes, our first of two. Oh, I'm so sorry.
We have staff appreciation.
We do. Who wants to bring this motion? Who wants to present this motion?
She'll let one of the new ones, newbies,
Ms. Meyer, Ms. Stewart,
bring a
would you like to
motion.
present?
All right, here we go. I would like to bring forth motion number 97. That the board recognize the following special days honoring the staff of Northville Public Schools. Administrative Professionals Day on Wednesday, April 26, 2023. National Teacher and Staff Appreciation Week from May 8th through the 12th, 2023. And National School Nurse Day on May 10th, 2023, as presented.
Support.
All right, well, I had resounding support there. Just because she's closest, I think I heard you, Dr. Campbell-Voitel. So I have a motion properly presented. Well done by Ms. Stewart and supported by Dr. Campbell-Voitel. Open it up for discussion here. Comment from board members?
No, but I'll just say, as you all have favorite teachers, and it's special when the parent reaches out. So whether it's parent-teacher conference or send an email note or send a text, let your teacher know you appreciate them. So I don't know, it's just a nice thing, and you all know who your favorites are. So it's a good week. Send a love note.
I think there's still also an opportunity to send the NEF, Thank a Teacher, which could be a wonderful thing as well during Teacher Appreciation Month. Special
Well,
sub edition.
I would also like to point out that our two school nurses are being recognized also. And if we have a chance to reach out to them, if you've had any interactions or aware of contributions they've made, I think a little note to the school nurses would be in line. We're fortunate to have two of them.
Thank you. I'll just echo what everyone else has said. I mean, there are our teachers and staff across the board are the lifeblood of what happens in these buildings, and the energy that I'm always in awe of, the energy that they bring to their classes. It's really inspiring to see. And the ideas that they bring, right? The ideas, I mean, the way schools and classrooms are being conducted these days are so much further along, the evolution curve than I can't help but walk into these things and think about my education when I was a kid. So just great things to applaud here. So any further comment?
Last one.
I was going to say, I also wanted to give a huge note of appreciation to you, Megan, because the past year has been so much change, right? And you have kept us all going in such a good direction and keeping us all calm, keeping us hydrated. We walk upstairs and you have a smile for us. You help us find Dr. Weber. You're just really a gem. And so thank you for dealing with all of the changes and all of the new things and being such a solid person for all of us. So.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, Megan, you've because you've served multiple superintendents just in my term on the board, it's been memorable to, or sort of notable to me in this last year, how you serve that role of continuity. The things that you do to support the board and this district are innumerable, and it just would not function the way it does without you. And that's one person out of this huge district. So you should be really, you should just know that from the bottom of our hearts, we all appreciate you.
Agreed.
Amen.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So that motion carries. Thank you so much for that. And thanks for the reminder. That brings us, like I said earlier, to number 9 on our agenda, public comment, the first of 2 opportunities. I won't go into the logistics and rules unless necessary. Going once, going twice. That brings us to number 10 on our agenda. I'll hand it over to our treasurer, I believe, Ms. McIntyre.
All right, thank you. All right, I'd like to bring forth motion number 98, that the board authorize the administration to award contracts not to exceed a grand total of $449,234.06 for a middle school Chromebook lending program totaling $244,332, funded through 11T and general fund. Microsoft licensing from CDWG totaling $56,936.06, funded through the general fund. Cisco Systems SmartNet warranty from Inacomp TSG, funded through general fund totaling $30,408. And NHS partial fire alarm wiring through Monroe Electric totaling $117,558, funded through BSSF as presented.
Support.
We wanted to bring this forth to our whole group just to really highlight, sometimes we tuck these under consent agenda items, but we thought also this would be really important to highlight why middle school Chromebooks, right? That we have identified that the high school lending program has been super successful. There are so many reasons that students might ask for a Chromebook, and we know that there can be a homework gap in the evening if students are maybe using different technology. We just wanted to make it really accessible for middle school students as well, based on how successful the high school program has been. So Andrew, if you want to share with us some of the other details, that would be awesome.
About the Chromebooks or just the other purchases?
Both.
Oh, okay. Yeah, with the Chromebooks, we're kind of just purchasing off of like the same student to device ratio we did with the high school. And and as of right now, the pipeline of devices has kind of cleared up. So we hope that like if we were able to do this purchase, we could get it in the time that school starts. The other component that we have is for the Microsoft licensing. It's a yearly license that we have. This covers like all of our software and also all of our like online cloud storage. We're able to expand some of it to give us a little bit more data protection by knowing like we'll have a little more data of like how logins are happening and giving us a little more security. And then the other one is just our phone system, like support to make sure that that system is current, up to date, and they can if we have any issues, we have some expert to be able to call.
I guess the cool thing we talked about in subcommittee is, one, we're going to be able to fund part of the Chromebooks from 11T funds. That's the federal government funds that we were at risk of not being able to utilize it all. And so this means we are not taking as much from general funds. So that's a great use of 11T. It allows us to give to middle school students who need it. Not all of our middle school students, have access as much as we think it does. The other thing is that they're actually really solid Chromebooks, right? Our experience is these things last a lot longer than you'd think. I mean, people think a Chromebook is 2 years in trash, and these babies are lasting like 4+ years. So, I mean, it's a good investment, lasts a long time, and we'll get a lot of good use out of it.
2029. That's when Google will stop supporting those devices.
Yes. So
the other thing too is that a school provided Chromebook has all of the same firewalls and safety measures that exist when students are in our buildings. So there are so many reasons that this is a benefit to our community that, they're just our websites that kids can't access when they are using a school Chromebook. And I think that's a big benefit for families who don't always have the time to look for all of the parental protections and how do you this is all their expertise. I don't want to bore the community, but I just think it also provides a really safe way for our students to do homework and be slightly less distracted than they might be in other ways.
Excellent.
Thank you.
So I have a motion properly presented by Ms. McIntyre and supported by Mr. Mazurek. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. Thank you so much for that. That brings us to number 11. I believe, Ms. McIntyre, this is you as well, GRBS contract extension.
Okay. I'd like to bring forth motion 99 that the board authorize a contract extension for GRBS for the 2023 and 24 school year as presented.
Support.
So I have a motion properly presented by Ms. McIntyre and supported by Ms. Prescott. Any discussion or presentation on this issue?
Probably not a lengthy presentation, but I think we were all slightly surprised that because of the issues that we had experienced over the last couple of years, pleasantly surprised that GRBS has really worked hard to have stronger leadership in place that could be responsive to all of the building challenges. And there was unanimous support from all of the buildings in terms of wanting to continue with GRBS. So as we discussed in subcommittee, because of their detail and because of their leadership and their quick responsive nature to the challenges and concerns, the community would like to continue to support GRBS and not have to switch with a new contractor. This is a one-year contract that we're renewing, and so we'll continue to expect that ongoing presence and that ongoing responsiveness so that our buildings are ready for students each day.
The other key thing to note is financially, because, we always, us finance committee, we're always looking at the numbers, but if you look at what their increase was from last year to this year, it's well below the inflation rate, right? In fact, it's more than covered by some basic materials and some scrubbers. And so, if you look at what we've all experienced at grocery stores and increases everything else, this is significantly below the kind of increases we see from inflation. So financially, it actually works out pretty good too.
I just want to thank the administration for getting the data that was provided on the different building leader input. I thought that was really helpful. It was the board received building by building input across a number of different categories to look through. And so to Lisa's point about, that this was supported by the community. So I appreciated that feedback to flow through to the board. It made it easier to review.
I think that continuing the relationship with GBRS makes sense based on the data actually that we were provided showing that their performance was evaluated an average of 4.3 out of 5, which is significantly higher than it was previously. So there's progress being made and stability in their personnel and outstanding leadership in their building supervisors. So, there's lots of good things going on. We're noticing that.
There was some transparency too about one particular building that's had a lot of turnover of staff. And so I appreciate the high level communication about that too. And just the ongoing problem solving that seems to be happening around that. So as we continue this, if the board votes and approves this relationship, then we want to also see that level of focus and commitment to those processes continue.
I appreciate the dialogue. One note I'll make is I thought the board memo was really great detail, great explanation. Really, in my mind, left no questions. So great job and thank you for that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that passes. Thank you so much for that. That brings us to number 12 on our agenda, instructional materials purchase. Mr. Missouri.
So I'd like to bring motion 100 that the board adopt the following instructional materials for a grand total of $325,142 for the 23-24 school year. Biology for the AP course totaling $29,400. AP Human Geography totaling $18,390. Middle school math Desmos Algebra 1 totaling $158,754, and TCI Social Studies totaling $118,558.
Support.
So I have a motion properly presented by Mr. Mazurik and supported by Dr. Campbell Voitel. Any discussions or?
Yes,
further-
I'll just bring up a couple things. One, this is not something that happened overnight. I mean, our staff has been looking at this for months, and probably well over 6 to 7 months, looking at the books, evaluating things like that. We did go through curriculum committee, reviewed all the materials. We even reviewed it last week at committee the whole. So again, another round of reviews. And I will say that a couple of us board members actually Googled it, because it's amazing. You can Google anything nowadays, and actually read through some of the course material. And while I didn't go through every single chapter, because that was humanly impossible to do, but from the chapters I looked at, and I think Ms. Vitale, you did the same thing on multiple of these books. I looked at AP Human Geography, and I looked at Social Studies. I mean, really well thought out, clear, concise. I love the fact they didn't throw politics into it. These were just educational tools. And so I'll just say that, not only went through all of the staff, the curriculum council, through committee, but we even looked at it ourselves, and it's clean. It looks good.
It does look good. Just acknowledge publicly, though, that there are parents that sit on the district curriculum committee meeting, so that there was parental access and opportunity to make comment, which is just, a standard that we expect in how we function in this district, is involving parents in making these kinds of decisions. So it was a very strong, rigorous process from the teacher level through the buildings all the way up through the leadership and the district curriculum committee. So it was quite impressive, actually, for me, as being new to that committee.
Excellent. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Thank you so much for that. That brings us to number 13 on our agenda. Ms. Irving, Dr. Weber, do we have any added agenda items?
None.
None. Excellent. That brings us to number 14, our second of 2 opportunities for public comment. This is your 3-minute opportunity to make public comment. Going once, going twice. Thank you. Questions, comments from board members? Agenda item number 15. Do we have any?
So really quickly, we had our Northville Senior Advisory Committee meeting this past week. And there's a lot of interesting things going on, because they have new leadership with the Parks and Rec and for the Senior Advisory, all the senior programs. One thing that really stood out for me, Miss Bajulian, who's the program coordinator, right? Supervisor, sorry, titles are tricky at the Parks and Rec. So she is working really hard to get the seniors involved at the high school, and so we're sharing information about Seussical the musical. They've got flyers up at the community center, and then she is working with the early education department, and so they're going to have classrooms come over with preschoolers into the community center to do arts and crafts with seniors. So that is going to be May 18th and May 19th. I put it on my calendar because it's like, I want to do crafts with preschoolers, so I'm going to be there. I'll share the dates and times with everyone.
You're not old enough to be a senior yet.
No, but I can pretend I'm a preschooler again. How about that?
Who wants to break it to her?
I just want to do some crafts, So I thought that was really fun that the senior program coordinator is working hard to, be collaborative with our school district. So if you have any
ideas, let Dr. Camber Voitel or myself know, and we can bring that to the senior advisory committee.
Any other comments?
I wanted to note that in our Northville Youth Network update from this month, that there were 10 referrals for racial and cultural insensitivity. That number is such a huge jump in our community, I think, and in terms of what we see as far as referrals. So I think coming off of our conversation last week about restorative practices, all the different types of circles through the SEL programming, that I think this is evidence as to why that is really important for us to continue to just navigate that territory and how we continue to help kids, learn about each other, just like what you talked about, Jim, that the diversity committee here talked about, like, what are the similarities that kids have and how do they learn about each other? And I think that, I'm not sure what grade level these referrals are coming from. But I think there's, to me, that's evidence that we really do need to lean into that work. Because these are the referrals that have gotten reported, right? That we know there are other situations that are probably happening that the kids are feeling harmed by. So just wanted to highlight that for the
Maybe
board.
next committee of the whole, we can get just a 5-minute update on what kinds of things we're seeing. Because the question I always have is is it the kind of thing that we as a board can do something about or not? But maybe a 5-minute.
And I just also want to say that sometimes data, when it goes up, that's a sign of health, right? It's not, and I don't want to sugarcoat it at all, but data can be low because nobody's reporting, nobody's taking seriously, nobody's recording, kids don't feel that they can come forward. So there, to Jim's point about digging in, and to your point, I think it's worth paying attention to, and also I'm going to maintain the optimistic hope and just the reinforcement that I've always felt like we have to face what is, and we don't do any justice by turning our eyes away from whatever is. And I have a great deal of faith that this community can face what is. So let's dig into it and understand.
I agree. So this could either be there's a serious issue, or we're focusing on it and we're nipping things in the bud, right? And by addressing issues quickly up front, you prevent them from getting worse later. So we'll figure out what it is, but it's a good point to just identify.
Just a watch point that I noticed.
I think that's
Sandra, you have anything to share? I saw you were ready.
So actually that is topic that we talked about at our last MIL meeting, but also I did some conversations following on the pre-vote. So that's definitely something that we can highlight in our updated video.
Cool. Thank you.
I appreciate these comments. I really love the way you put it, Sarah. I do think I agree. It is a healthy thing to see people, kids, whoever it is, talking about these things that they're seeing. We even saw in the breakout session, I think it was with our second graders, 2 or 3 of them probably took a lot of bravery to get up and say, hey, especially about something that probably hurt their feelings, maybe a lot, to get up there and say, somebody said something to me that was racially ugly or whatever it was, hurt my feelings. And I think all this together is pointing us into a direction where we need to be focusing and thinking about, this is what we're hearing from our customers and what's happening in our district. So I think that's such a great point about how it's a healthy thing to see those kinds of stories coming out.
I was so glad that the kids that spoke and most kids had an adult that they would feel comfortable telling, right? I was glad they also had peer support, but glad that at least from the Ridgewood lens right now for our elementary school kids, when they feel hurt, they will reach out to a grown-up for help.
And I think a really important comment that was made tonight, just right now, is that as we continue to go towards those things that are important, to not tinker around the edges, but look at some of the things that may be ugly and difficult. As a community, our belief is then, as was said, you'll have faith that we are going after it, we are addressing it, And I think, Sarah, what you said is right on. It scares me when I see nothing in places, right? I think Judge Damon Keith said, democracy dies behind closed doors. And I would argue that childhood, youth, and innocence can also die behind closed doors when we don't have a culture where people can name what's going on in that hurt. In the first session with those youngsters tonight, to hear them bravely share their own truths with a bunch of adults they'd never met, and to have the courage, as Jim said earlier, it is incumbent upon us as adults to listen, to lead, and to be better. And to Jim's point, I firmly believe that our future is in good hands because of what we saw tonight. We have to encourage it, not stifle it. We have to be courageous and understand that some of the things we talk about, some of the things we lift up are going to hurt a little bit. It's okay. It's okay. So thank you for tonight to all the comments from the board that people have made and our community members. I'm very encouraged and really looking forward to each day that we can. Remember, you don't have to be sick to be better. Just looking forward to continuously building an environment that is better each day for our kids and families.
I'll make one final note. A thank you to Dr. Weber for representing us so well at the State of the Community last week. I thought you did a great job.
Thank you.
Hitting all the notes, hitting all the right points, telling the world, the community about what we have here and what we're doing and what the future holds. Great job for that. And I also think it's really important. I thought, and what I've seen in a number of meetings over the last several weeks, I've seen you in is just the way you're building relationships with, whether it's the police departments or the city or the township. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. And an update to that, actually, after the State of the Community, Todd Muchler, who is the township supervisor and our new supervisor in Northville, oh gosh, John, help me with his last name, starts with an L. George, your guys, George, starts with an L. He's new to us from East Lansing.
Lahannis,
very good.
Yeah.
Excellent. You're going to be my phone a friend if that Millionaire Show ever comes back. So actually, we're going to start meeting the three of us on a monthly basis as well, and that connectivity. Again, it's just the theme of better together. Today, when I was at Thornton Creek, it was really great to see there were 2 Novi police officers just walking the halls, drop by, just to show that visibility there. And the more we can find the commonality to what Jim said, find that commonality between all of us, and let's leverage the heck out of that. And we all may live in different spots and have different roles and different jobs, but certainly we can be better together if we're willing to see the good in each other. Thanks.
All right, I guess one final thank you. Whoever put these together.
Awesome. Oh, these are, can we show these? Can we, I think they have, what do they have, like, yeah, it's like an actual legit picture.
These are caricatures that I believe are being presented to us by Ridgewood or the Ridgewood PTA, or I'm not sure.
Yeah, it was actually, Principal Zielinski said it was one of our administrative assistants thought of this, reached out and had it done. And I love this because I actually look younger again. So I'm not letting go of this.
All right. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Turn it so we can see.
Look at that. Look at that.
Awesome.
I like
Right
this. The gray is completely
gone,
gone.
right? It's gone. This artist is brilliant.
All right. On that note, I will call us adjourned at 8:53.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.